Hi, this video is for Thursday, April 16th for Algebra 2. Today I'm going to teach you about writing equations of perpendicular lines. So yesterday we talked about writing equations of parallel lines, and that's where they had the same slope. Today we're going to talk about perpendicular lines. And perpendicular lines cross at a 90-degree angle. So, like this. Okay, so they cross at a 90-degree angle, and to do that, their slopes have to be negative reciprocals. So negative reciprocal means that you take the given slope, you flip it over, and you change the sign. So an example I gave you on your notes before we do the actual examples is 1/4 and -4. So I'm going to show you that. So 1/4, if you flipped it over, it would become 4/1. And if you change the sign, it would, instead of positive, it would become negative. So 1/4 and -4 are negative reciprocals. So you flip the slope and change the sign. Okay? So we're going to start with the examples now. So we're going to look at example 1. It says, write the equation of the line that is perpendicular to y equals 2x minus 5, and it passes through the point 4, -1. Okay, so what is our slope right now? Well, our slope right now is 2. So 2/1 is our current slope. If we flipped it and changed the sign, so we're going to flip it and make it negative because it started off as positive, our new slope has to be -1/2. Okay, so we're going to use our friend y equals mx plus b, and we're going to put -1/2 in for the slope. The x of our point is 4, the y of our point is -1. Now, when you go to do -1/2 times 4, you can think of it as 4 divided by -2 if you like. So 4 divided by -2 would be -2. And then we're going to add 2 to -1 to solve for b. So b equals 1. And the equation of our line, I'm going to write it over here, would be y equals, our slope was -1/2, so y equals -1/2 x plus 1. So it's like that. Okay, so the difference between yesterday and today is that they don't have the same slope anymore. They're not parallel. Today they're perpendicular, so that means you have to flip the slope and change the sign. And then the rest of it is pretty familiar. Okay, so hopefully that made sense so far. We're ready for number 2 now. Alright, example 2 says, write the equation of the line that is perpendicular to y equals -1/3 x plus 4, and it passes through -1, 2. Okay, so let's establish what the slope is of this line right now. The slope right now is -1/3. So if we were to flip over -1/3, it would become -3/1, but we want to change the sign also. So if we flip this and change the sign, our new slope is going to be +3. Okay, so when we go to write the equation of the line, our slope is going to be 3, so we're going to plug 3 in for m. The x of the point is -1, and the y of the point is 2. So we're going to have -3 plus b equals 2. And then we're going to add 3 to 2 to solve for b. So 5 equals b. Alright, so our slope over here was 3, so our equation is going to say y equals 3x plus 5. Okay. So that's problem number 2. Hopefully that's feeling okay so far. Alright, example 3 says, write the equation of the line that is perpendicular to y equals x, and it passes through the point -3, -5. Okay, so if we're looking at this equation, it just says y equals x. Now, do you remember what number is in front of that x right now? Hopefully you remember that if there's no number in front of x, it's implied that it's 1. Okay, so right now our slope is 1. One second, my iPad decided to shut itself off. Okay, so if the slope right now is 1, or 1 over 1, we're going to flip that and change the sign. So if you flip it, it's still 1 over 1, but now it's going to be negative because we also had to change the sign. So our new slope is -1. Alright, so we're going to start out with our good old pal y equals mx plus b, just like every time. Okay, so y is -5. M, we just established, was -1. X is going to be -3 plus b. So -1 times -3 is 3. Alright, so -5 minus 3 is -8. So b is -8, and our slope was -1, so our equation is y equals -1x minus 8, or you can write it as y equals -x minus 8. So either one there is acceptable. Okay, so those are the first 3 normal examples. Now I'm going to teach you what happens if you're asked to find a perpendicular line to something like y equals a number or x equals a number. Alright, so example 4 says, write the equation of the line that is perpendicular to y equals -1, and it passes through the point 2, 2. Okay, so I'm going to draw you a picture of this line real quick. Alright, so y equals -1 would be here, and if you remember from me talking about this a previous day, y equals -1 would look like this. So it's a horizontal line that passes through the point 0, -1. Okay, so if this is a horizontal line, perpendicular to it to make a 90-degree angle would have to be a vertical line, straight up and down. And straight up and down lines are always x equals a number. And if it has to pass through the point 2, 2, it would have to be a vertical line that passes through 2, 0. So our equation of this line is going to be the x of our point, x equals 2. So when you have a y and you want something perpendicular to y equals a number, perpendicular to it is going to have to be x equals a number. And it's going to be the x of your point. Okay, so the same can be said if you're asked to find a perpendicular line to x equals a number. Same logic applies. So let's look at the last example. Now, when I say the same logic applies, what I mean is if you're asked to find a perpendicular line to x equals a number, you're going to have to pick y equals a number. So when they're perpendicular lines, x and y are opposites of each other, so x equals a number and y equals a number are going to be perpendicular. If you wanted parallel like yesterday, it would be x equals a number and x equals a number, or y equals a number and y equals a number. But if they're perpendicular, they have to be opposite letters. but only on these last two problems. The first three problems are a totally different thing, so don't get them confused. Alright, let's do this last example. Alright, example 5. Write the equation of the line that is perpendicular to x equals 4 and passes through -2, 5. Alright, so perpendicular to x equals a number, I've said this like 4 times now, is going to have to be y equals a number, and it's going to have to be the y of your point. So what is the y of our point? 5. So perpendicular to x equals 4 and passes through this point, 2, 5, is going to be the line y equals 5. Okay, so that's it. Alright, so I'm going to post this video along with the notes to Google Classroom, and you'll have a form to fill out on this stuff for the day. So it's multiple choice, and you have to find the correct perpendicular line to the given line that passes through the given point. So if you need any help with that, let me know. So I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.